Needles Highway. Woohoo! The last major. I did the Wildlife Loop. I've done Iron Mountain 3 times. And now Needles Highway. And then it's time to depart the Black Hills for today, for this trip, for 2023 for me, as the way things are looking anyway, which that's okay. I got to spend some time here again this year, and it's always a special place, always great to come out and Bella enjoy it, and to do it the way I did this year was extra cool. It was an event I hope I will continue going to in the future, as I mentioned earlier. It's always a bit bittersweet knowing that the end for me for this trip is near. The visitor center, or the Coolidge store, they were saying that a lot of times the buffalo, bison, tend to go up into the trees on really hot days like this. They're very likely up in the trees as opposed to down here in the flats. Or not flats, but down here in the lower elevations. Try and get up above the heat a little bit. And into the shade. There's the eye of the needle. Wood. Yes, I said wood. All right, so now I've got the decision to make. I've got 600 miles to 605 miles to home. It is 5 p.m. at home, but it's supposed to be hotter than hell tomorrow too. I'm going until I can't go no more tonight. And if I make it to Decorah or make it home, fantastic. If I get to a point where I need to stop, I'll shut it down. But I'm really hoping that the temps will start to drop pretty soon. And cause it's, you know, it's, of course, it's only 4 o'clock here, but in about half an hour, it's going to be 5 o'clock or 5:30 because I'm going to jump time zones back into Central Time and not that far. South Dakota has really good, really high speed limits for the interstate. I've been keeping a close eye on that nut all day. It has not moved us at all. Feeling like I can probably get fairly safe with it, feel safe with it. I mean, it's not where it should be. It's not torqued to 95 or 90 pound-feet. Foot-pounds, sorry. But, you know, it's torqued pretty enough that I feel like it's not going anywhere. It's actually digging into the triple tree a little bit. So I'm really pretty confident that it's where it needs to be. Obviously, I'll have stops, so I'm not going to make the time that they say, but I could be in my house by 2 o'clock. Back on the road and back functioning cameras again. I'm not sure what all I lost there. At some point, my main camera shut off. I don't know if it just didn't like the charging circuit it was on or what, but so I lost at least part of my afternoon of riding's video. Just stopped for my first gas stop since leaving Sioux Falls in Murdo, South Dakota. 470 miles to go to my house. It is currently 7:18 p.m. I'm getting, in South Dakota, I will average about 150 miles a tank only because of the speed. So I'll have at least 2, possibly 3 more gas stops before I could get home. And I'm going to make a couple of photo op stops quick. One for Corn Palace, one for Dignity Statue, if I have light yet. For Dignity Statue, that's actually really, really cool in the dark, but I think I'll be there before dark. And Corn Palace, that's cool either way. I've seen it both. If I don't end up stopping for them, oh well. Found another problem with my bike while I was stopped. Somehow or another, my back fender got into my back wheel and chewed off most of my fender and started to dig into my license plate. I don't know if that happened yesterday and I just didn't notice it until today, or if at some point today I hit a big bump and hooked it. But about a third of my back fender is gone. which is fine. I don't really care. It's the Black Hills trail permit thing is also mostly gone because that's where it was. And my license plate is bent up, but everything is still legible and everything, so it shouldn't be an issue. Hey y'all, Driftless Biker here. Morning of my last day out, and I'm heading up to Pipestone National Monument in Minnesota. This is actually kind of closing the loop on something I saw clear back on Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday morning. I went by a Lewis and Clark historical marker, and I don't stop at most historical markers, but I was like, oh, what the heck, I'll stop at this one quick, in Nebraska. Extreme eastern Nebraska. And it was about this Lewis and Clark campsite, and they mentioned the Pipestone National Monument, and some conversations they'd had with some natives at the time, and this place where they go and all the tribes coexist and talk and have fun and go to this place and make pipes from this red clay, or this clay. So I'm like, you know what? It's not that far off the route on the way home. Take me an extra hour, just about, and gets me off of the slab because I did 5 hours plus of I-90 hammering in that heat yesterday, and I needed a break. So I hoteled it last night. I wimped out. It's all right. I'll live. So I figure this way I can get a couple good pictures, a few more shots, and then hammer for home. I've got about 2, maybe 3 stops between here and there, and then I will be back at home. And this morning at the hotel, as I was getting my bike loaded, a nice lady, Liz from Madison, was loading her bike, and we chatted for a bit. She's on a nice little run too, and she's been out for a bit and on her way back to Madison the long way as well. So Liz, if you're watching, nice meeting you this morning, and I'm sure we may bump into each other again at Pipestone because you were heading that way as well. Just leaving Pipestone National Monument. That was a pretty cool little stop. Nice little hiking trail, just a short loop, maybe mile and a half. Not bad. Worth the stop. I don't think it's probably even that much. Probably a mile at most. It was a really nice little loop. Really cool site too. Worth a visit. Glad I made this little side jaunt up here. Alright, one last push. Just leaving Austin, Minnesota, going south on 218. Got about an hour. If I took the right way, it would take me about an hour 15, but there's been something I want to try and swing by or get on my pictures that I've missed the last couple trips because they're missing. I'm hoping that 218s are still there, and that would be the Welcome to Iowa sign. For some reason, the state of Iowa removed them from Highway 52, Highway 139. So, I'm trying another road. What am I out? Swung into Blue Earth and got some pictures at the Jolly Green Giant Museum. They've got a 60-foot green giant statue at their museum and park. So swung in and took some pictures of the bike with the green giant behind it. Woohoo! There was a sign. I'm back in Iowa. Finally. After what seems like 2 very long days now. Part of it is because I spent yesterday screwing around all day. Having fun, riding good roads, and doing what I do. But that put me leaving Rapid City at 4 o'clock Rapid City time, which is Mountain Time, going into Central Time. So essentially I left Rapid City at 5 o'clock and I rode until about 10:30. So I put myself in this situation. I made the choice and I enjoyed the choice, but it makes for a couple long. Oh, time to wrap up this whole trip. What a journey it's been. I've been on the road a total of 7 days only. I think I'm going to end up about 23 to 2,500 miles. I'm not really sure quite yet. I'll take a look when I get home and figure out my total miles or thereabouts. 4 states. Across Iowa from pretty close to the eastern edge all the way through to the west edge, across Nebraska most of the way across before turning north to South Dakota, and then actually 5 states. Ducked into Wyoming for a little bit, was never able to get a Wyoming sign because there were none on the gravel roads that we were on. Big surprise there. And all the way across, so I did South Dakota from coast to coast, and Minnesota most of the way back before dropping back down into Iowa. Rode some fantastic roads in the Black Hills, enjoyed some time with an old friend in the sand hills of Nebraska. Tried to avoid interstate as much as I could, but I still did more than I wanted to on the way home yesterday and today. Get On ADV Fest was a blast. Met some really cool people, both YouTubers and non-YouTubers. Some potentially good friends, or at the very least some potential friends. People that I would ride with again, absolutely. The Black Hills is always just fantastic riding. You know, that's why I got such a late start yesterday. I was off enjoying some of my favorite roads in the Black Hills, and they're just so good. I mean, whether you're talking Iron Mountain Road or Needles Highway or the Wildlife Loop in Custer, or going from Sylvan Lake back out towards Hill City, or going back towards Custer, frankly, both of which are fantastic. I went the Hill City way yesterday, which is my preference. Banneker Canyon, I ran that several times. Just fantastic riding. The Buffalo Chip was great. I mean, for that event, I don't think you could have come up with a better facility. Now, some more trees to give some shade on some of the tent sites especially would have been fantastic, because we don't have campers to go in, we've got tents, and tents get really, really hot when they're in the sun. Next year I am going to look for a more shady spot if I am able to go back, which I think I will be able to. My plan is to go back next year, if at all possible. Hopefully try and convince 1 or 2 people to join me even.